The shrine. What is there to see here? Confessor Adalbert. Confessor Adalbert, a plump, rosy-cheeked old man, is lighting candles, taking his time with each. Glints of fire dance on his heavy golden aquila, and in his sky-blue eyes he addresses us, smiling. The Emperor protects your lordship. Are you here to pray, or do you have mundane matters brought you to me? There's an incredibly profound quality to his voice, and he speaks with mesmerizing timbre. Remind me, what is it you do on my ship? I am the ship's confessor, your lordship. No vessel that abides by the Imperium's laws can sail the void without a spiritual guide. Even a smaller-sized ship that does not have a member of the ecclesiarchy on board entrusts all matters of faith to a layperson who is a staunch adherent of the creed. A rogue trader's flagship, naturally, is expected to have a confessor who comes from a line of his reverend servants. I am such a one. I am entrusted with caring for the reliquary chapel and the dynastic crypt. I also conduct liturgies, consecrate the ship's bays, and strengthen the crew's hearts whenever a dark hour is upon us, lest any among them falter in the face of the horrors lurking in the darkness, and fail in their duty. Talking about the dynastic crypt. Every rogue trader takes care to maintain an appropriate place of repose on board their flagship, for their capital may change with the passing of centuries, but the vessel of the Emperor anointed serves them for millennia. It is more than just a symbol of the dynasty's authority. It is the source of its power, the Lord Captain's seat in the void whence they reign over their many lands. The Von Valencius crypt is where rogue traders and their most loyal servants are laid to rest. As the ship's confessor, I perform the rites of burial and remembrance for those honored dead. He lets out a heavy sigh. It never occurred to this old man that he might have to send Lady Theodora on her final journey, but all is the Emperor's will. I'd like to find out more about this place. Adalbert smiles warmly at us. I could talk about the reliquary chapel for hours. Is this the only place of worship on the ship? Why no, there are multiple sancta on every deck, where your subjects pray fervently and the clergy keeps a close watch on the firmness of their faith. This, on the other hand, he gestures around at the glittering reliquary, is the holiest of holy places, where only the noblest among your servants are permitted to set foot. I want these other decks to be able to partake in this exuberance as well. Adalbert's eyes arch upward. Truly a most generous and gracious gesture, your lordship. I will arrange for commoners who have distinguished themselves in their service to be allowed in here. An event like that will fill them with fervor, and they will pass down the memory of what they have seen to their offspring. Where does this collection of sacred relics come from? Every relic we have here was either arduously tracked down by your ancestors, captured in battle against the faithless, or received as a gift for glorious deeds. A show of loyalty to the Emperor that speaks for itself, does it not? He makes no effort to conceal his pride. For our part, we keep the precious relics intact and undisturbed as we conduct liturgies and perform rites. Initiate Zeke is especially diligent in his care for the relics. Though he is of common stock, he earned his position through dedication and piety. I have other questions. I would like to hear the Imperium's tenets from you. In a voice brimming with solemnity, Adalbert begins. Every man and woman has a place in the order he created, and this order must be followed and the will of one's superiors obeyed. Beware of witches, for they have been stained by the warp. Persecute mutants, for they are perversions of the human form, and hate the accursed Xenos. The Imperial Creed prescribes being wary of psychers, but the Imperium needs them. You are right. Without the astropaths, we are deaf and blind. And there are many other psychers laboring for the good of humanity. That is their place within the Emperor's design, but only those among them who accept his light have been authorized. Adira scoffs contemptuously. For once in your life, you could just admit that it doesn't take a tongue calloused from prayer to handle the warp's dangers. The ecclesiarchy tells us to persecute mutants, but an exception was made for navigators. The nameless nobility are different from most humans, but their differences are a blessing. They are noble servants of the Imperium who help humanity expand its galactic domain. Do you not see that as a higher purpose that pleases the Emperor? It is a pleasure to hear that unlike the ignorant rabble, you give due acknowledgement to the greatness of our deeds, Confessor. Among the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Emperor is known as the Omnissiah. They have their own form of worship. Do they truly share our beliefs? Most certainly. Different likenesses of the Emperor and ways of worshipping him can be found across the Imperium's worlds, but we all believe in the one. Come to think of it, my warrant entitles me to violate the Imperial Creed in many ways. Violate? Those are not to be conceived as violations. A rogue trader's privilege comes with a duty, the duty to expand the bounds of human influence. If the rogue trader must take responsibility for unorthodox solutions or actions in the course of performing that duty, then so be it. It seems there are more holes in the Imperium's religion than parasites on a Grox. You forget yourself, Vesper. If Argenta's glare could burn, we would be a handful of ash by now. Not even a rogue trader is allowed to blaspheme against the holy faith. He clutches his chest and exclaims in a fearful voice, "For the sake of your own soul's salvation, this conversation is over. After hearing this, I will have to spend no less than 3 watches praying for your lordship." Should we not have said that? Maybe we shouldn't have said that. That will suffice for now. You are positively beaming with joy. A priest like you is a rare sight. Adalbert laughs good-naturedly. A fair observation. Everyone knows that the clergy must maintain a stern appearance to inspire fear and awe in their flock. His mirth fades, giving way to a pensive gravitas. The truth is that my clan and I experienced great hardship. I cannot explain how it is I am standing before you now except by his will. How could anyone be anything but joyful knowing they were saved by the Emperor? What happened to your clan? I was scarcely more than a child when the malady struck our cabins. First would come the fever, then the unlucky victim would start retching blood. After that, he would melt away like a candle. Only the youngest survived, myself among them. He smiles feebly. But now my family is growing, and I am grateful for each new life that replaces one lost. Still, your gentle manner may adversely affect your flock's faith. An accurate observation from a lord who knows the importance of strong faith on this ship. The gentleness you speak of is skin-deep. On the inside, my faith and spirit are pure adamantine. Decades instructing the crew and fighting the dangers of the void and the warp have required nothing less. My resolve in the face of the monstrous threats we face must always be 100-fold firmer than that of my flock. Other topics. Did Lady Theodora come here often? Your predecessor always had due concern for the reliquary's maintenance and its needs, and under her rule, faith occupied its proper place on the ship. Adalbert gives us a diplomatic smile. People confess to you, do they not? I am interested to know the thoughts of some of my subjects. Ours is a throne-fearing flock that regularly leaves vox recordings in the shrine confessional housed in the eastern part of the reliquary. This allows us to maintain constant watch for any heretical tendencies. We can observe the earnesty with which our parishioners render their duties, as well as any dangerous dissent brewing in their minds. Initiate Clotis is responsible for sorting in the confessions. He will be honored to offer you access to the confessional cogitator. I must take my leave. May the Emperor's blessing be with your lordship.